The FCS College Football Experience Week 2 preview and picks episode of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. And once again, that is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And make sure to enter the free roll football contest. Up to $3,500 in prizes is up for grabs. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll to enter today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Dan Hawkins. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience, the FCS college football experience, week 2 preview and picks. As you know, obviously I'm still in a hotel room here, so hopefully the internet holds up, but excited to talk FCS football. It's a big week. It's a big time matchups. Obviously, you got a bunch of those FBS, FCS matchups, but you also get a few FCS bangers. I would say it's much better than week 1 in many regards. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Robert Martin. Shout out to Elliot Money. Let's go. And yeah, Luigi as well. Dundee never stops. Look, you stop when you die. All right. You got to have fun. You got to keep going. You know, you gotta. There's always action to take. You know, to talk about. I took my son to his first baseball game yesterday. Caught the Oakland Coliseum before they get rid of this. Before they take this Oakland A's team, those sons of bitches. You know what I mean? I'm brokenhearted about that. But anyway, let's jump into this mix. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Yes. Shout out to Cousin Mush, who's in Vegas with the guys. There we go. Cheers, brother. Hell of a good guy. We do have Friday night FCS action as a once proud program. The Western Illinois Leathernecks are catching a large number. And let's talk about this. I made slides. Don't worry. Wife was asleep. Son was asleep. Dog was asleep. I was in the wee hours of the night making these fire slides just because I like to. Game 1 is let me see if I can switch this around. There we go. Game 1 is the Leathernecks of Western Illinois. And this line is, since I made this last night, this has gone up to 42.5. It was 41 when I made this last night, but Indiana is currently laying 42.5 points. And I think you should take it. As someone that took Western Illinois last week, plus 35, and I think I got the hook too. I had 35.5 against Northern Illinois. They got destroyed, and I feel like it could have been worse. I felt like Northern Illinois kind of caught it off. 54-15 was the final. I did not hit on the 35.5 as they lost by 39, and I even felt like they were kind of calling off the dogs. So I actually think you should lay it with Indiana with the big number there. Big Baller saying, how shitty is the A Stadium? I like it. Now they could also renovate, in my opinion, but I had been there before for Raiders games, and I'll take that. Like I loved it for the Raiders games too. But different strokes for different folks. A lot of people like that new bullshit that the Raiders play in now that I think is just screams like Target, or Best Buy. Just feels like it's soulless. Whereas like you go to the Raiders or when the Raiders played at the Coliseum, it had a feel to it. People would be like, but there's a baseball field on the field. I think that actually makes it cooler. So check out the Stadium Heads. We do a deep dive on the Oakland Coliseum and all the history, whether it was college football action, played their NFL action. And then obviously the Oakland A's all the way since fucking Reggie Jackson. So, yeah, I think you should hammer the Indiana Hoosiers though. All right. So, my only fear is this. How soon do they call off the dogs? If you get this in a tease, you're hitting. You're fucking hitting. So there's that. Want to tell you that the FCS college football experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Sports Gambling Podcast is back, picking every NFL game against the spread like they've done since 2011. Plus, make sure to enter the free roll football contest up to $3,500 in cash up for grabs. Sign up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. Once again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. All right. Back talking FCS action. We went through the Friday game. Look, Western Illinois is just on auto fade. I want this program to get back to where they were. They were once, a very, very good program. So hopefully I can get back there. That's a series, by the way, Western Illinois and Indiana that goes back to 2012. Jumping into Saturday's action, we start off with a very fun one. And I thought the Citadel had one of the more interesting week one games, as you had the rivalry game there against Charleston Southern, where they were down 21-3 in that game. They battle back, win 24-21. Huge win for the Citadel. I know my guy Kevin from FCS Nation Radio, which if you're an FCS fan, you should be following that. I know he had to be happy with that one as a Citadel alum and fan. Citadel's laying one here against South Carolina State. Buddy Pugh no longer at South Carolina State. I think most people would figure he would be still there. This is a series that goes back to 1989. And why am I going to fade the Citadel now? Especially when you have all that coaching turnover, roster turnover with South Carolina State, the Bulldogs, though. Excited for this game though. They should be playing more often. So I'm going to lay the one with the Citadel. They went out and got Jonathan Bennett in the portal from the Flamin' Libs. And how about that momentum after coming back a week ago, down 3 touchdowns pretty much, or 18 points, and coming back and getting that dub. So let's lay the one with the Citadel and let's go. Next. And I'm going chronologically on time in case you're wondering, on kickoff. In Hartford, Connecticut, the Merrimack Warriors are at the UConn Huskies. UConn's laying 20.5. I struggle with this one, actually. I don't think Merrimack's that bad. They covered for me against Air Force. I'm going to lay the 20.5 with UConn, even though I don't feel like you should be betting this one. I like this one is a tricky one to me. But I will lay the 20.5 with UConn. I think they're gonna, after getting their ass whooped the way they did against Maryland, I think they're gonna try to get some style points here. So lay the 20.5. But if you have to bet on this, if you're going to this game and want to bet on it because you're going to it, lay the 20.5 with the Huskies of UConn. Next, Rhode Island heading to Minneapolis. Rhode Island cashed for us last week against fucking Holy Cross. Now they're catching 25 in Minneapolis at Huntington Bank. I think you should lay it with Minnesota. The way they lost game 1, if you didn't catch the Minnesota North Carolina game, they missed several field goals. Really kind of shit the bed. Wide open drop in the end zone by a receiver. Browsmer threw the ball too. So EB Steelers in the chat. I think you lay the 25. If anything, I like Rhode Island cashed for me last week against Holy Cross, but I came away not as impressed with Rhode Island as I thought I would be for game one. So, yeah, I would say you lay it there with Minnesota. I actually feel fairly decent about this one as well. Next up, we're going to New York for the Marist Red Foxes, taking on my Georgetown Hoyas. Georgetown's laying 17. What kind of shape is the Marist program in? That's what I wonder. Obviously, the coaching changed in the offseason, but Georgetown looked pretty good, I thought, week one. I still hate laying 17 points anytime with Georgetown, especially on the road. I just don't think I can do it. Give me Marist in the 17. I think Georgetown did look super impressive, but I just, what have they shown over the years to lay 17 on the road? I know Marist is going through coaching change, and another thing is it's their home opener. They're a home opener. So Georgetown, yes, they put it on Davidson. I think they won by like 22 points or something against Davidson, which was very impressive because I thought Davidson might get that. I thought they might be live in that game, but I got to take Marist plus the 17 on the road. You gotta. Moving along, Lafayette still in the FCS top 25 despite the loss week one. Heading to Monmouth. Monmouth returns from a trip out to Eastern Washington to Roos Field after they almost rallied and got it done, but they kind of got their ass whooped early in that. Kind of fascinated by this game. One of the better games here. The series goes back to 2002. Lafayette's laying 4. I'm gonna lay the 4, but I think I'm going to sit this one out on the wager. I just want to watch this one, see where both teams are at. So, lay the 4 with Lafayette. If you're forcing me to pick this, I think that's the angle. I thought they looked a little bit better than Monmouth week one, but hey, Monmouth was storming back in the 4th before that interception. So something to note there, a good one. And what station is that one on? I feel like I wrote that down earlier. Flow. So good luck. good luck getting that one. Hopefully you've paid for the package. If not, I don't know. I don't know that it's worth it to you. Next up, we got Warner and Stetson. No line. Just want to honor all these FCS schools playing, and Stetson, Ray Finkel's alma mater. Ace Ventura. This is a game that goes back to 2013. In DeLon, Florida there. I think Stetson will handle Warner. Nice logo there, Warner as well. Next up, McNeese catching 50.5. I should do an update on this, see if this line has changed at all. I am still seeing the same number. So 50.5 McNeese. Clifton McDowell, they got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mac. McNeese did cash for me last week. However, A&M lost to Notre Dame. I don't think McNeese is going to score this game. Question is when does Elko call off the dogs? I can't do that. Got to take A&M if you're forced to stay away from this one. But I still think like if you had to, you have to take A&M. Lay in the 50.5. That's a series that goes back to 2001. This I actually think is one of the best games of the. This is what has me super excited. There's a few games. Obviously the Citadel, South Carolina State is one I really want to watch. Lafayette, Monmouth, but Campbell and Western Carolina. I thought Campbell played really well against Liberty. I don't know if Liberty was keeping it vanilla, knowing that they had a conference game week 2 in Las Cruces against the New Mexico State team that looked really, was really good a year ago, even though coaching changed. But I was impressed with the Campbells in the first outing there, and then Western Carolina. Kerwood Bell and the Cats looked really good to me at NC State. Almost won that game at Carter Finley. This is a series that goes back to 1937, folks. Cullowhee, North Carolina. Western Carolina's laid 14.5 points. I think I got to take the Camels. I know they're baiting me with that hook. I think you got to take Campbell plus. Just I feel like a letdown spot a little bit after playing that well against NC State. I think Campbell can stay within that number. In-state battle. So Give me the 14.5 at the Camels. You know what? I will lock that up. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, it's a great game. All right, moving along. We jump on over to St. Anselm at fucking Sacred Hot. Actually, that line is not accurate there. Just wanted to note that game is going on in Fairfield, Connecticut. I believe Michael Barker will be there. College football campus tour. So if you're going to that game, checking them out, hit them up. I look to see Sacred Heart take down St. Anselm there in a series that goes back about a decade. Bucknell is at VMI. This is a series that goes back to 1978. Lexington, Virginia. VMI, I was foolish to take them week 1 against a really good William and Mary school. I thought Danny Rocco would have the Keydets playing a little bit better into that game. Ate shit on that pick. VMI is laying 2.5 against Bucknell, the Bison. I still think this is a value play. Going back to the well. VMI minus 2.5. I think they're better than Bucknell. I think the fact they're at home and the fact they played a really good William and Mary school week 1. I look for the Keydets to bounce back. I think they're the better coach team as well. Danny Rocco's done such a good job throughout his career, mainly in the state of Virginia, but also in Delaware. Let's load up. Let's lay the 2.5 with the Keydets. Next up, we are going to Muncie, Indiana. You're not going to get Muncie out in the middle of nowhere. Missouri State, who's jumping to the FBS next year this time. All right. Ball State, who's been in the MAC. Mike New in a pivotal year, and this is their opener. Ball State's laying 5. Kind of fascinated by this game. Montana State looked all right against Montana. I'm sorry, Missouri State looked all right against Montana. I think we should lay the 5 though with Ball State. I think back-to-back away is gonna be a little bit of a test for the Bears there. There's that stat with the second end of the back-to-back away, so I like laying the 5 with Ball State. I'm kind of fascinated by this game though. I think it's one of the better games on the entire card. So do what you will there, folks. Want to tell you that the FCS college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times the amount of money you enter. The NFL is back, and there are a ton of pick'em specials to get you started. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries. They have college football best ball as well, folks. So sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com promo code TCE SGPN. Yeah, EB Steelers back on the FCS show. Moving to FBS, so no playoffs and not allowed to play in a bowl game for 10 years. Jackass rule. Yeah, it's not. I think it's 3 years, but yeah, I get your point. Silly rule. Very silly rule. But I think they're afraid of the split, though. I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of right now is the potential of the split. Shout out to Ben Ellison once again. YouTube.com/ the college experience. Ben Ellison saying thoughts on EIU this week. I hope we avoid the 0-3 start. I can't wait for that game. We'll get to that in a minute, brother. But yeah, fascinated by the Missouri State Ball State matchup. Let's move along. Tennessee Tech is catching 54.5 points against Georgia. Golden Eagles covered for me week 1. Almost won the game outright against as they battled back against the Blue Raiders in Middle Tennessee there at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium. No. I'll take the points though, because Kirby Smart's got a history of calling off the dogs. And this is a series that goes back to 1943. He's got a history of like winning 56-7 or something like that. It's kind of Saban-like. Saban would do the same things. Obviously Kirby Smart from the school of Nick Saban coaching tree. So I would lean to taking the points, believe it or not, but I don't think I would be betting this one. But I think if you're going to the game, you want action on it. If you're a Tennessee Tech alum or something like that, take the points. Let's go. I think you're going to hit. This is a good one here. Northern Iowa heading to St. Thomas. St. Thomas, I feel like one of the most interesting teams in the FCS since they made that jump from the D3. Northern Iowa, obviously, historically has done such a good job. Such a good program over the years from the days of David Johnson and Kurt Warner and Dedrick Ward, was it the wideout for the Jets? Yeah. Northern Iowa's lay at 23 at St. Thomas. I'm taking the points. I know the Tommies have been adjusting to life in the FCS, and I think a lot of people speculate that if there's a team that could jump to the FBS soon, maybe it would be St. Thomas with the money they have and the jump in the, you're seeing their basketball program look pretty good as well. So I'll take a shot on the points with Northern Iowa on the road there. But yeah, kind of excited to watch that matchup as well. Valpo, the Crusaders are heading to the Ice House to take on Youngstown State. Youngstown's laying 35.5 points. This is a get right spot for Youngstown after that tough. They battled back against Nova, but did not get the dub. So many new faces there in Youngstown. I think it's a little too many points. I'll take Valpo, even though I know their ass. Don't bet this one either. Moving forward, we got a damn good one here. New Hampshire, Holy Cross. This series goes back to 1920, folks. Holy Cross lay at 10.5. I think this is too many points. I don't like Holy Cross. And the reason why I faded them last week is a new coach, even though he's a proven winner. I just can't. I'm not in the spot to just say that they're there yet. This is week 2. I think I will take New Hampshire plus the 10.5. Lock it up. Wow. I got a song for you. Wildcats. W-I-L-D. Cats. W-I-L-D. Wildcats. Yeah, I just think that's too many points there. A good matchup though. Good matchup. St. Francis is at Kent State. Kent State is laying 26.5. Kent State actually impressed me against Pitt, which has me a little weary because normally I would take the points with the Red Flash because they fared well against the FBS as far as covering spreads. But I was impressed with Kent State. I thought that Kenny Burns had them looking way better from the eye test standpoint than I thought they would. So this has me a little tricky. I'm actually going to lay the 26.5 with Kent State. Let's go. Shout out to Jong in the chat. Appreciate you. Yes, the FCS. That's the heart of college football. That's how you know the real from the fake, in my opinion. And shout out to EB Steelers off topic. Curious, what does a Saturday look like for you? No, I actually go to the studio on Saturdays, man. That's the time I get away a little bit. Got to focus on the job. So White Tiger stays with my wife on Saturdays during football season. So I can actually, focus a little more. I shout out to you though. I know what it's like. I know that's got to be tricky for you with a newborn. Utah Tech is at UNLV at this filthy stadium. Allegiant should be Sam Boyd Stadium. UNLV first matchup. I like this as a future. They should schedule this more often. This in Southern Utah. The Rebs are lay at 41.5. I actually think you should lay it because UNLV's offense. I think UNLV looked pretty damn good. Matthew Sluka, the former Holy Cross quarterback, coming into Vegas. They beat the shit out of the Houston Cougars. So I kind of think you'll lay it here with these Rebs. Yeah. Moving along. Mercer is heading to Daytona Beach. Take on the good old Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Look, Mercer's DJ Smith lightening up a little bit there on the passing front. Something to monitor moving forward. But Mercer's lay at 22. I think you lay it. Bethune's got to prove. I don't know. That's a lot. I still think you lay it. Lay the 22. Don't bet this game though. It's on the road. It's a little tricky there. Duquesne, great letdown opportunity from Boston College there in Chestnut Hill. Boston College laying 40.5. You know what? I will take Duquesne plus 40.5. I feel like they might put the backups in. I'm not going to bet this game either though. But shout out to Duquesne Duke, CJ Sullivan, the Bet Detective. Subscribe to the Bottom Line Bob's podcast. That's his alma mater. Duquesne heading to Boston College. South Dakota. I'm kind of excited to watch this one. South Dakota heading into Madison, jump around Camp Randall Stadium. Look, I didn't think Wisconsin looked very good as my Western Michigan bet cashed. And I thought Western Michigan Live was in play. Had they not fumbled late in that game, they might have been up 8. They were driving the ball. South Dakota is a very good FCS. I don't think people realize that. I think South Dakota State always, steals the headlines. North Dakota State steals the headlines. I will take the points with the Coyotes, but I am concerned about the whole game. Like, I think first half, if you can do the first half bet, take it. I'm concerned about, the wear and tear throughout the whole game. Fourth quarter, does it open up much like it did for the Western Michigans even though they're in the FBS, they got more scholarships. That shit matters in the trenches. So give me the points of the Coyotes. Still no bet though. Tennessee State and Eddie George. It's a big opportunity for them as they head to the Fargo Dome to take on North Dakota State. North Dakota State's laying 32 points. Draylen Ellis, the quarterback of Tennessee State. Well, actually, and I almost said Cam Ward. Why am I drawing a blank on the Cam Miller? Both quarterbacks have looked really good so far this season. Now, that Draylen Ellis did play Mississippi Valley State, so I don't know how much to read into that. 32 points. It's not often North Dakota State loses. So do they put it on Tennessee State here? Probably, but I'm taking the points with Tennessee State. That might be foolish. No bet though. This one I am fascinated by. Idaho, the Vandals. What a game. What a game against Oregon. They gave them everything. The bad news is that they suffered a lot of injuries in that game. They're heading to Laramie, take on the Wyoming Cowboys, who got absolutely obliterated. I was on the wrong side of Wyoming in Tempe. This is a get right spot for Wyoming. It's a series that goes back to 1921. I think Wyoming -6 is the play. I'm going to lock it up. I think Wyoming's going to get it done. Shout out to Ron Lowney in the chat. It says take the under on the points. What is that set at? I didn't even see that this morning. Is that still available? Let's see if I can find that quickly for you. I don't think I saw that yet. The over under there. If you can supply that for us, I'd be grateful. 46.5 is what Ron's saying. Yeah, I do lean under. I do. I look at this as something like, especially with the injury situation happening in Moscow. Remember, not only that, they lost a lot of their best players from a year ago, but I think Wyoming wins this one. I don't know, 27 to 7, something like that. But I love the play for the Pokes there up in Laramie. Excited to watch that game as well, just to see how Wyoming responds. Remember, there's no more Craig Bowl, so it is a new dawn of a new day there in Laramie, and this is their home opener. Stonehill is heading to Stony Brook, New York, to take on the Stony Brook Seawolves.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Stony Brook's laying 11, and I don't know. I don't know where I like. Give me Stonehill the points. I can't lay 11 with Stony Brook. It's a series that goes back to 1984. So yeah, give me the Seawolves there. Wofford, Sean Watson, great win in week 1, heading to the Cobweb to take on the Richmond Spiders. Richmond did not look as good as I thought they would week 1. Granted, playing Virginia. Richmond's laying 16.5. The series goes back to 2007. I will take Wofford in the points. Richmond's got to prove it to me. Now, I know Gardner Webb, coaching change. How good is that win? Really, I'm not sure. But I can tell you winning breeds confidence. I'll just take a shot on Wofford. No wager, though. We got Virginia State taking on Norfolk State. Excited to see that one. Love in-state battles. That is college football, despite what these TV execs are saying. Obviously, Kevin King has been running wild for Norfolk State there. Excited to check out this one, as White Tiger is as well. Franklin Pierce is taking on Bryant. No line here, but Bryant, excited to see if Bryant can right the ship after an ass kicking first game there against Delaware. They've got a couple extra days of rest. Go out and get a good win there. And shout out to the Barking Dog podcast if you're a Bryant Bulldog fan. Central Washington heading to San Diego to take on the Toreros. There's no lines on these games because they're not FCS on FCS. To the Toreros with a great win against Cal Poly week 1. Excited to see if they can continue on this way. I look for them to win this game. Maybe you get on over to Cut and you bet one of your friends on this one. Yeah, anyway, give me the Toreros. UVA Wise taking on East Tennessee State. I do think ETSU is one that got it done for me last week with the points in Kid Brewer against App State rivalry game. I look for them to bounce back against UVA Wise. Excited about this matchup here, but before I get to this one, I want to tell you that the FCS college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? Well, SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions on betting for moneyline, spreads, totals, and props. Hop on over there. Look, the Rhythm models had me on Colorado, North Dakota State under 59.5, which did cash. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB. I went to the Oakland A's game yesterday. I pulled out my Game Time app. Boom. Used it because they are an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch with killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, and it also works for college football too. And I would encourage you, the listener, to go out and support college football. It's great to watch 20 games on at once, but also you got to have that balance. All right. Go out there and catch a game you wouldn't normally catch. I challenge you to get out there to Fit and Field or the Vet there in Jackson, Mississippi, wherever you're located at. Go out and catch an FCS game. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the redeeming code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create that account, redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we are back. Morgan State Towson is a rivalry game. Towson is laying 16.5 points. I love watching rivalry games. So this is a series that goes back a ways to the 70s, and Towson was impressive a week ago. I think we should probably lay it with Towson, but I don't know. It's tough to come off an FBS game and have your rival sitting there. I think it's a fascinating game, but I do think like it's they're the better team. It's just, is the spot for Morgan State going to be the reason why they hang around? And the fact that it's a rivalry game makes it a little tricky, but I lean Towson Tigers. Shout out to the chat, Jong asking, outside of Matthew Saluka and Bob Chesney leaving for the FBS, were there any other Holy Cross transfers to? Yes. JMU star linebacker, drawing a blank on his name right now. Jacob Dobbs, I think it is. It's a transfer from Holy Cross. Also, they lost one on the O line, I think, to Duke and JMU. I think JMU grabbed an offensive lineman too. And, Tyler Purdy, also their running back, went out to JMU. Most of them to JMU, if memory serves me correct. Purdue got one, I thought too, though. I thought Purdue grabbed one. But yes, I like taking Towson there. And sorry for the noise in the background. Villanova is at Colgate. Nova looked really good week 1 at home against Youngstown. This is a series that goes back to the 70s as well. The Raiders of Colgate are catching 22.5. Man, more than 3 touchdowns. Give me Colgate to cover this. A little letdown spot. First road trip of the season for them Wildcats. I think Nova wins. Give me like a 35-14 final. Colgate backdoors this thing in Hamilton, New York. And shout out to Mitch Green saying take Towson. I was impressed with Towson week 1. I really was. I think they might be a player to make the playoffs this year. Gardner Webb did not look good week 1, but as you can imagine, with that many transfers, a whole new coaching staff coming in. Now they head to Harrisonburg, Virginia to take on JMU. They're catching 39. I will take Gardner Webb in the points here. I'm sure JMU will win this game, but 39 is a lot of points for Bob Chesney in game 2. So give me the running Bulldogs plus the points there in Harrisonburg. Virginia Union's taking on Hampton. You know I love representing the no line here, but Charles Oakley's alma mater there, Virginia Union taking on Hampton. Series goes back about 20 years. Love these games played like that. Regionality is college football. Edinburgh taking on Bob Morris, Moon Township, Pennsylvania. First matchup there. Bernard Clark and Robert Morris look to bounce back, get that first dub of the season. I think they will. Western Oregon, Idaho State. Aren't they like trying to join Idaho? No, that's Eastern Oregon, I think. Anyway, this series goes back to 2017. Look, Idaho State played Oregon State well. Excited to tune in and see the Hawkins, Dan Hawkins, friend of the program, Cody Hawkins, hell of a good guy as well. See if they can bounce back, get that first win of the season against the Wolves of Western Oregon. I think they will. Florida A&M is catching 52 points at the Hurricanes of Miami, Florida in a series that goes back to 1925, 99 years old. Give me the points. I think Miami will probably roll, but I also could see them just being like, oh, we just played Florida rivalry game. Daniel Richardson's looking pretty damn good at Florida A&M. So give me Miami like 62-14, something like that. Give me the points in those Rattlers as they continue to look good, whether whoever's coaching them. So Fordham is heading to New Britain, Connecticut. This is another one college football campus tour will be at, aka Michael Barker. Fordham's laying 25.5 against Central Connecticut State. I think it's a little bit too many points here. Give me Central Connecticut State plus the points. I do think Fordham is the better team. I think Fordham will win by double digits, but that's just too many points. Northeast football is back. Give me the real Blue Devils plus the points. Charleston Southern, fresh off of that heartbreaking loss to the Citadel, heads to Greenville, South Carolina to take on Furman. Furman's laid 27.5 after getting fucking embarrassed at the Grove there in Oxford, Mississippi. Love the in-state battle here, but based on what I saw from Furman, now maybe it's just a lot of points. Give me Charleston Southern plus 27.5. I feel like no bet though. Furman, obviously FCS playoff team a year ago. They look like they missed Tyler Huff. I can tell you that. As that just 76-0. Embarrassing. Elon, this one's one of my favorites of the week too. Elon is at North Carolina Central and Durham, North Carolina in state battle. Elon's laying 7.5. I thought Central looked really good. I thought Elon looked pretty good though. They just on defense. Their offense did not look very good, but they're playing Duke. So what do we deduce from that? I'm going to take Central plus the 7.5, but I'm kind of fascinated by watching this game. I don't know that I'm going to bet it, but I just think it's a good game. You know what I mean? It's a good game to just tune in and watch some good college football. Warner is that's I touched on that. Sorry, put that slide there twice. Kentucky Christians at Morehead State in a series that goes back away. I look for Morehead State to grab that dub. Miles in Alabama State. I think Alabama State will get that first dub of the season after a tough loss in the Orange Blossom Classic. Albany, West Virginia. I'm kind of excited to see how Neil Brown and them respond. I also think the Great Danes of Albany, life's a little different without Long Island. The fucking Sharks covered for me last week against Albany. Unfortunately for Albany, I think the portal hit them a little too tough last season. They also lost a guy to from a tragic situation. One of their better players passed away. I think we take Dub V minus the 41.5. I'm with you, Ron Lowney. I think you lay the big number with West Virginia, and I think I will wager on that one, especially off that Pitt State loss. So you gotta get the crowd happy. So let's go.
Morgantown, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Morgantown, WP.
All right, moving along. The Blue Hose of Presbyterian on the road at Erskine. What? You got to respect the FCS that goes on the road to a D2, D3. I didn't even do my homework on Erskine, but I like their logo. No line here, and I fear that Presbyterian may lose this game. It's a series that goes back quite a ways as well. Samford is at the Swamp, catching 33. Remember last time they played there? They gave him a game. But I think you take Florida minus 33. The heat is in the hat with the Billy Napier needs to win this one. I think you lay the 33 with the Gators. This is one of the better games, I think, in a series that goes back to the 60s. UT Martin, Southeast Missouri. SEMO should have won on the money line for me last week. They still covered, but they should have won on the money line for me last week. And I'm with you. Let's lock up the Gators minus the points. SEMO's laying 6.5. Excited to watch this game. I'm not going to bet this one. I'm taking Florida. I'll bet Florida. But this one, I actually lean UT Martin plus the 6.5. I just think it's going to be a close game. So give me the points. I know I'd like to get a touchdown. If you can get a touchdown, shop around. Yeah, I just tend to think this is one of the better games, but one of the better FCS on FCS matchups. There's a few real barn burners here. Savannah State dropped down to D2. Where the fuck is that Shannon Sharp and NIL money? Come on. Heading to Baton Rouge for the first time to take on Southern. I think Southern will body them. This is a cool game. This game's been going on since 1910. Catalba, is that? I don't even know how to fucking pronounce this one. Heading to Davidson. It's an old school rivalry though. Davidson looking to get that first win of the season, opening and breaking in their brand new stadium as well. So, I might just watch a little bit of that there. Texas Southern Rice is laying 36. I was impressed with Chris Dishman at Texas Southern week 1. Rice though did get their ass whooped by Sam Houston. You know what? Give me Texas Southern plus 36. Let's go. This game right here is maybe the game I want to watch most. Eastern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, they hate each other. If you're not familiar with obviously the series goes back to 1914. Western Kentucky blocked Eastern Kentucky from entering the Conference USA. And then Western Kentucky normally always opens up with the certain uniform combination, but Eastern Kentucky basically blocked them from doing that for this game, which is fucking hilarious. And Western Kentucky went to social media to complain about it. It's been chippy. It's been ugly, but God damn it. That is the beauty of college football. The Hilltoppers are laying 22.5. What Eastern Kentucky just got waxed by Mississippi State. I'm taking the points though. It's a rivalry game. I'm with Ron. Let's go. YouTube.com/the college experience. Get on over there in the chat. I'm betting the hell out of this. Give me Eastern Kentucky in a rivalry game. 22.5 points. Way too much. I want to watch that game. I'm ready to watch that game. That might be like one of the games I want to see most this weekend. Mercyhurst is at Howard. Mercyhurst, brand new FCS school, catching 32.5 at Howard. I was impressed with Howard. Obviously playing in the Celebration Bowl a year ago, and also impressed week 1 against Rutgers. That is why I will lay the 32.5, but no wager here. Drake is at E-Dub. E-Dub looked pretty damn good. Eastern Washington against Monmouth, but 35 points. I'll take Drake plus 35, but don't bet that game. Drake's been bad lately. So William and Mary catching 21.5 on the teal turf there at Brooks Stadium against Coastal Carolina. I will take the 21.5 at William and Mary here. And I'm going to lock this thing up. Who the hell are you, Coastal? Coastal looked great against Jacksonville State. Tim Beck maybe better than I thought. But still, Mike London and William and Mary, they beat an FBS a couple years ago. It was Charlotte. They can hang within 21.5. Let's go. Lock it up. Glad to see them playing for the first time. They should be. The Thoroughbreds of Kentucky State. Great name. Taking on Alabama A&M in Huntsville, Alabama. No line on this. Seeing if Alabama A&M can get that first win of the season. But honestly, with a name like the Thoroughbreds, I got to root for the Thoroughbreds to come in there and get it done there. Here's a really good one. Illinois State laying 11.5. They're still in the FCS top 25 on the road in Florence, Alabama, taking on North Alabama. I think it's a little bit too many points for me. Give me North Alabama plus 11.5. Check the picks page, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. I might wager on that one. Northern Colorado. The series, this is taking on Colorado State. This series goes back to 1905, folks. Colorado State lay at 27. I do think we hammer Colorado State here. The way they got beat down by Texas, I like jumping on them to destroy Northern Colorado and Ed Lamb's second season there in Greeley. Let's lay the 27 with the Rams. All right. And then one of the biggest matchups, maybe the biggest matchup of the week is, it's not often that South Dakota State loses in general, but they did at Oklahoma State. They're still number 1 in the nation, taking on an Incarnate Word team that is number 12 in the nation that did win. So this is a huge game, maybe the biggest of games, but still, even with that, South Dakota State's an 18.5 point favorite. And I can tend to agree with the line. I think, especially catching this Jackrabbit team who won, back-to-back national championships. This is a message game. This is a message game here. I'm going to lay the 18.5 with South Dakota State. Fascinated by watching this one though. See if Incarnate Word has closed the gap at all. Lane's at Jackson State. No line there. Always good to see a game at the Vet there in Jackson, Mississippi. One of the best college football settings in the country. Sela, Southeast Louisiana, is catching 13.5 at Southern Miss. This is another one though that I feel, and this is a rivalry game that goes back to 1940. I think Southern Miss minus 13 is the play though. Some of these FBS ones, I think catching them here, I am going to take the Golden Eagles minus 13.5. I watched the Sela Tulane game. I think Southern Miss is going to be able to exploit that. Will Hall coaching for his life there in Hattiesburg at the Rock. This game, I try to watch this game every year. We had Ben talking about this in the chat. He looks to avoid the 0-3 start there. Charleston, Illinois, as Indiana State takes on Eastern Illinois. This is a rivalry game that goes back to 1901, folks. I think EIU rights the ship and gets the win. However, 11.5, too much for me. Give me Indiana State plus 11.5. All right. Fascinated by watching that one. Butler is heading to Murray, Kentucky. Murray State's laying 19. Too many points for me. Give me Butler plus the 19. Chattanooga, Georgia State. This is one I think Chattanooga's alive to win this thing. Series goes. They actually the last time they played, or the first time they played back in 2013, Chattanooga won. I think they could do it again. Georgia State's just a 7-point favorite. This is anyone's game to me. I will take the 7 in Chattanooga, and I look forward to watching this one. Tuskegee's at Grambling. Excited to see that matchup. That should be played more often. Prairie View, Northwestern State. Now, Bubba McDowell and Prairie View let me down last week. They're catching 7.5 at Northwestern State, and I don't think you should take it. I think Northwestern State will cover this. Northwestern State, for the first drive or two in that Tulsa game, I was actually somewhat impressed, and then the wheels fell off. I think they're in a better spot after watching Prairie View last week. Sorry, Coach McDowell. Cal Poly, Stanford. The series goes back to 1892, folks, on the farm in Palo Alto. Stanford's laying 42. That's just too many fucking points. Give me Cal Poly plus 42. I know Cal Poly has been struggling. They lost at San Diego last week, but 42 points is 42 points. Give me the points in the Mustangs. The Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State heading to Lamar and Beaumont, Texas. Lamar's laying 23.5. Series goes back about 20 years. I will lay it, actually. I just can't. I don't have faith in Mississippi Valley State yet. So lay it with the Lamar Cardinals. Montana, North Dakota, one of the better matchups this week. Series goes back to 1915. Grand Forks, North Dakota will be rocking for this one. Montana laying 2.5. Don't overthink it. I'm locking up Montana minus 2.5. Let's go. Bobby Hawk. North Dakota, 2 minutes. Schuster's gone. The offensive line's depleted. They did look better, and they did cover for me in Ames. But I think Montana gets it done there on the road. All right. Central Arkansas got robbed of a win last week against Arkansas State. They head to St. Charles, Missouri to take on the penitentiary known as Lindenwood, who did not get robbed. Central Arkansas is laying 25. I think you should probably lay it, but no wager here. Winston-Salem rivalry game. Winston-Salem State, North Carolina A&T. Love that this game continues to be played. Series goes back to 1952. No line. We got to get lines on these. Come on now, Vegas. A&T, Vincent Brown, the former New England Patriot linebacker, did look. I thought they looked better this year against Wake in week 1. So I think A&T will get the dub. Tarleton heading to Houston Christian. I don't understand. So Tarleton's laying 17. I'm not real sure with the way Kayvon Britton's been running for Tarleton. I know they had quarterbacks, injuries, but I think we lay the 17 with Tarleton. Not buying into this Houston Christian bullshit. Let's go. Lay the 17 with Tarleton. Lock it up. Moving along, we have the Salukis. This is a great game. It's a really good game. Heading to, what is that? Clarksville, Tennessee, whatever the fuck it is. It's on the slide. Clarksville to take on Austin Peay, the Governors. Southern Illinois is laying 7. I think we lay the 7. I am fascinated by watching this. But yes, lay the 7 with the Salukis. One of the better games there in a series that goes back to the 1980s. Nicholls State is catching 50.5 against LSU. Nope. Let's lock up LSU. Wrong place, wrong time. LSU coming off the loss. Brian Kelly and his family. Lay the 50.5 with LSU. Lock it up. Alcorn State's catching 48.5 at Vandy. Didn't know what to do here. Give me the points in Alcorn. Don't bet this game. Stephen F. Austin, North Texas, in a series that goes back about 100 years, 99 years. North Texas laying 19.5. I was impressed with North Texas week 1. I think we lay the 19.5 against Stephen F. Austin. So jump on over there and do that. Arkansas Baptist taking on Pine Bluff. Nice in-state battle there. I honestly don't know who will win this game. I lean Pine Bluff, but excited. The fucking Long Island Shocks are heading to Amon G. Carter Stadium to take on TCU. TCU's laying 51.5. Give me Long Island, but don't bet this game. Don't bet this game. But if you bet it, take the fucking Long Island Shocks. Maine, Montana State. Maine's got to get the program back to where it was. This would be an awesome game if this was back where it was. But unfortunately, Montana State's laying 25.5. And I think they're going to cover this because Maine has kind of fallen off. So I like laying the 25.5 with Montana State. Yeah, I think that's the angle. I think you got to take Montana State there. So let's do that. Portland State, Weber State, in a series that goes back to the 60s. I'm kind of fascinated by watching this one. Weber's laying 9.5. I disagree. I'm locking up Portland State plus 9.5. I think they're going to stay in this game. It's a good one. I know Portland State gave up 70 week 1 to Washington State, but I just feel like Weber had too many moving parts. I think we're in for a good one here in Ogden. West Georgia, who did receive some votes in the FCS top 25 this week in their first year in the FCS, heading to Abilene, Texas. Abilene Christians laying 17.5. I mean, Maverick MacGyver. But look, it's a letdown spot. They lost by 1 in overtime to Texas Tech. Give me the West Georgia Wolves plus 17.5 against Abilene. Might bet this. I might bet this one. Check the picks page. And yes, you are right. Weber, when Jay Hill left Weber, I feel like Weber kind of has dropped off a tier. So, by the way, I want to send my best wishes to Jay Hill and his family. I know he just recently had a heart attack. Southern Utah heading to the Sun Bowl, the best stadium in college football, if you ask me, like that, or top 3 stadium in college football, the Sun Bowl. If you haven't been, go. The Thunderbirds catching 6.5 against UTEP. I think we should bet UTEP here. I'm going to lay the 6.5 with UTEP. Love this matchup. Southern Utah's like desert Utah. Desert college football. We are pro desert college football. We need more of these matchups. I want the desert conference. I'm going to lay it though with UTEP. Scotty Walden, I think, is a good coach. Get right spot after Nebraska. Northern Arizona. This is a fun one. Series goes back to 1931, and the Lumberjacks won a couple of years ago against Jed Fish. They're catching 44. Give me the points. I know Fafita and McMillan will have like a gigantic day. And if you're playing DFS or fantasy football, you're going to want to jump on those guys. They'll have a big day, but give me the 44 points with NAU. I believe this might be the last game on the slide here. Texas A&M Commerce catching 24.5 at UC Davis. Davis played Cal very well. Commerce kind of got beat down by Sean Lewis. And, this is a revenge game. UC Davis did stick it to him last year. I'm going to take the points with Commerce. I don't love the play, but give me the points in Commerce there, 24.5. And final game on the slide, I believe. Sac State catches 17.5 against Fresno State. Fresno after Michigan, get right spot. I'm still going to take a shot on Sac State plus 17.5. You saw E-Dub almost take down Fresno last year, and it went to overtime. He's let down FCS spots. Meanwhile, for the FCS team, it's their Super Bowl. This is a series that goes back to the 70s as well. I will take Sac State. I might bet this one too. So, folks, that's it. I just talked FCS football for 1 hour, going through every fucking game. Excited to talk about all this action though moving forward. I'll also be Saturday morning. We do a pregame show. Now it is FBS and FCS, but feel free to hop in there and ask FCS questions as well. 1 hour before kickoff, obviously 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on this very show. I gave you my favorite plays. You also can see them. sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Click on college football picks or go to get the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. You'll get access to all of our picks. So do that. Cannot wait to watch this week's action. And there's a lot of good games. I feel like, obviously the Incarnate word, and I feel like South Dakota State is stealing the headlines. But there's some really good games here. Obviously some of the FBS games too, but like I'm excited for this game. West Georgia and Abilene. I'm excited for Portland State Weber in the Big Sky. I'm even somewhat excited for this. I mean, this would have been so much better like 7 to 8 years ago, but Maine and Montana State. I mean, anytime you get the rivals, a lot of these FCS games against the FBS where you have the rivalry, like Stephen F. Austin, North Texas, or Eastern Kentucky and Western Kentucky, it's well worth the viewing experience. Excited to see the Salukis and the Governors do battle. The SEMO, the UT Martin game. There's a lot of good ones out there. Obviously, Montana, North Dakota. So make sure you tune in. Everyone's gotten multiple TVs these days. All right, put some FCS football on. It's the heartbeat of college football. Let's go, folks. Give me a follow on Twitter at TheColBD. The FCS College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And Ron's in the chat. Hey, they're the top 2 leading rushers in the nation. Montana State does in Scotchery Humphrey and Adam Jones, the great the longest run by a white running back I've seen since fucking John Riggins. Yeah. So check out the College Football Experience on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. YouTube.com/the College Experience. Get on over there as well. And let's go. All right. Can't wait to talk more FCS with you. I'll be back in the studio by Saturday morning before that pregame show. So hop in there. Let us know. Maybe there'll be a lot. Look at FCS lines move. Can't tell you how many DMs I get. How the fuck do you get that line, Dundee? Well, dude, when no one bets your games and then all of a sudden some people bet, they drastically move. I was having a conversation with Brad Powers about this. It's like you can see like a 10-point line change over like 6 hours. It's fucking insane. Anyway, yeah. Till next time, folks. This is the FCS College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the gamblers. Run and shoot.